Inside this house every Thursday, circling tables with boxes of food, grabbing and bagging what some might call treats.
Granola bars, juice boxes.
Is more like treasure for the children who need it.
These kids often come to school hungry and leave and aren't looking at a lot of food throughout the weekends.
That was something somebody donated to us.
Please join me in welcoming one of our 2 eChievement Award winners of the week from Burnsville, North Carolina, Robert Wyatt.
Hey, Robert, how are you doing?
Doing great.
You came a long way to be here with us. I'm so glad you did.
I am glad to be here. It's a beautiful place.
So it's a cool story about you noticing this issue of weekend hunger, kids who rely on schools to get their food.
It broke our hearts when we found out that they were going through the weekend with not a lot of food, or in some cases, no food.
Yeah. So tell us about the county where you live. Tell us about where you come from.
It's a very rural county, less than 20,000 in population. Unemployment rate, I think, still a little bit over 15%. So very...
And kind of spread out.
And very spread out,
Yeah.
Very large county. There are a lot of these kids who have absentee parents, or they have parents. We've had a lot of industries who have closed due to textiles and other things that have been happening. And so a lot of parents lost very good paying jobs.
I'm trying to just imagine. So you became aware of this. How exactly?
We learned about it through school nurses having kids come in who were on what we call free or reduced lunches, meaning they're already somewhat low income, and they were coming in on Monday morning just shaking or were falling asleep at class. And as they started quizzing them, they started saying, well, Friday lunch was the last meal I had.
Right.
So we need to give them some healthy snacks that they can squirrel away under their bed, some juice boxes, some granola bars, some individual cereals, fruit cups, that sort of thing. We give bags to everyone from from kindergarten through high school.
Yeah.
We have 7 public schools, and then we have one other school that is like for developmentally challenged kids who came on board last year.
So on Friday, these kids walk home or go home with some resources for the weekend.
The guidance counselors and the teachers very covertly and very nicely kind of slip the bags into their backpack, so they're not
embarrassed.
They're not embarrassed, and there's no peer pressure. So.
Yeah. And the age range for the kids who are served is
5 to 18.
5 to 18. Wow. And do you hear that it helps? That it makes a difference?
We have actually gotten some amazing feedback. Everything from kids, just from some teachers saying kids are just brighter, more alert when they come into school. They're not falling asleep. To some teachers have actually given us scores that they are moving up in percentile, up into the 90 percentile. And before our program, they were in the 70s percentile, that sort of thing.
And where do you get the stuff? Where do you get the food and the snacks and the juices and the granola bars?
We have some donated to us. We have 12 to 15 churches in the area who help support us, and they have volunteers that help work with us, and they will have collection times during the year, but the majority of it, we actually go to a wholesale place and buy it, because that way we can keep it in date, which is one of the requirements. We have to have it in date.
It can't be expired.
It cannot.
Yeah.
And go into the schools.
And am I right? Is your wife's name Glenda?
Yes.
Glenda. So you and Glenda, and you have help, you have volunteers from either the churches or other places?
We do. We have probably rotating through the year, probably about 100 volunteers who work in and out.
Yeah. And when did you start all this stuff?
Started in fall of 2007.
And how much food do you think you've given away at this point?
A pretty good estimate. I think by the end of this year, we will have given out about 75,000 bags, and each one's about 2 pounds, so somewhere around 150, 160,000 pounds.
160,000 pounds of food. That sounds like a lot. And no end in sight, because this is an ongoing issue.
I would like to work myself out of a job, truthfully, but I see it as going to continue to increase for a while.
Yeah. Well, good luck, and I hope that there are others who can be inspired by what you've done in your county and certainly replicate these programs in other counties. But more to the point, we hope that we can help these families come up out of poverty and be able to stick around, and whether it's raising the minimum wage or finding other ways to employ them, and
Absolutely.
bring these families up out of poverty so they can feed their own kids in their own homes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's our hope.
Yeah. But meanwhile, you're doing something that has to be done.
Thank you.
Congratulations. The winner of this week's eChievement Award, Mr. Robert Wyatt. The organization is called Feed a Child in Yancey County, North Carolina. feedachildyc.org. Congratulations, Robert.
Oh,